Move into our next session, which is a use case lightning talks session. We have a set of speakers who will be coming up, and we'll start with the first topic, which is AI ML use case for 5G network automation. Understand the role of AI ML in telecommunications, focusing on its necessity for network automation and successful configuration generation within 5G networks. We have two speakers from Hewlett-Packard Enterprise. I'd like to introduce them to you. Please give them a big round of applause as they come forward. We have with us this afternoon Grace Priscilla Nambi, Technical Architect, HPE. Grace Priscilla is a passionate engineer working in the R&D division of Hewlett-Packard Enterprise Networking Group. She has an overall industry experience of more than 18 years. She's an architect and product owner of a telecom platform and is interested in the new technologies of the telecommunication industry and networking. And joining her on stage is Rupa Raj Siddhalingeshwar, software engineer at HPE. Rupa is back in IT after a considerable break of over 10 years, I'm told. She's engaged with telecom domain at HPE. Her interests are versatile, and currently she's passionate about statistics and AI. She's happy to explore the opportunities that AI opens to deliver more optimized solutions in her ongoing projects on 5G. Please welcome Grace and Rupa. Over to you.
Hello, a very good afternoon to all of you. I'm Rupa and this is my colleague Grace from HPE. Today we are very happy to share our thoughts about AI ML enabled automation of 5G networks. Over the next few minutes we'll explore the key features provided by 5G and how edge computing is enhancing the 5G capabilities. We'll also see how AI ML can enhance edge computing to build networks to cater the networks of tomorrow's generation. Now, what is 5G and how does it matter? 5G is next generation mobile telecommunication. It's not just about faster internet. It's much beyond that. It's complete overall of how we connect and how the devices connect in today's world. The 5G gives us two key features, that's the ultra low latency and massive connectivity. These two features unlock possibilities of across the industries, starting from smart cities, autonomous vehicles, and advanced healthcare. At the heart of 5G, we have three planes across which the data is managed. We have the user plane where our actual data to our device is transported. We have the control plane that handles our signaling, and we have the management plane that oversees the data handling between these two planes. Data from these planes is traditionally transferred to a centralized cloud server for processing. However, processing at the centralized server requires data to be transferred to and fro from the device to the cloud, bringing in a lot of latency. This is not advantageous to futuristic, time-realistic applications like autonomous vehicles. The decision can impact their performances. We need data to be processed at the place where it is being generated. This reduces latency to a great extent and helps build robust, time-realistic applications in future. This is where the technology called edge computing comes in. Edge computing is a technology where we process the data at the source of its generation, like your devices or your local network servers, maybe your network edges or even the cloud. Having this technology, though it reduces the latency and brings in transformative applications, it has its own challenges. Data is processed across many points in the network with edge technology. This opens up a lot of surfaces for vulnerabilities, bringing in security as a concern. The data being touched can be at any point, it can be sensitive. This can raise questions on data governance and privacy issues, leading to data integrity challenges. The current devices at all the edges are not up to scale like that of the cloud servers to process the data. The enabling our edge devices to be AI/ML capable brings in the cost into the picture. We have multiple devices connected across in 5G, which are supplied by various vendors. This can raise concerns about interoperability issues. We need a solution to unlock the massive potential that edge computing can bring into 5G. Currently in market, we have multiple solutions available which can make edge computing automatic. Like the zero-touch auto reconfiguration framework enables your network to auto-reconfigure sensing the network congestions or the security threats in the network. They bring in new routing policies or more tighter securities across the network on the fly. We have distributed learning or distributed network data analytics, which gains insights across the network and passes on these insights to the edge computers, reducing the burden on computing. This way, they can tune based on the network analytics insight that has been supplied by their network operator. We have self-healing or self-organizing networks which can sense addition or deletion of devices across the network and tune their parameters accordingly. However, all these methodologies that we are using are primitive. They are more reactive to the network status once they have happened. We need something that is proactive and rather than reactive. We need technologies or intelligence that can sense the congestion or security threats before they have happened and take actions before they can come into life. This is where AI/ML can hold our hand. AI/ML has a lot of frameworks which when sprinkled with these methodologies can build robust, reliable, and user-centric applications for future. Using AI/ML needs data. It can't be just any data. We need right data for the right use case and the right technology applied over it to apply it very decisive answers. We have statistics available at our management plane which we can tap to decide on the right routing policies, optimization of resources, or the proper scaling factors that we can apply on the network automations. This can help us build a better and faster network. Today we are presenting you a use case where this statistics data can be used and how we plan to use ML methodology over this data, which will be explained by my colleague Grace.
Thank you, Rupa, for the insightful overview of 5G. So now that we have got an idea of how 5G network elements look like, and she has provided insight on what kind of data we are going to focus on for developing a solution. Coming to the solution, so this is the kind of solution we are planning to have a AML-based model in the management plane. So this is a kind of network that might get deployed at any of the edge. So you have a core network, you have the RAN, and you have the management plane. This management plane is primarily responsible for collecting all kinds of data from the core network and also from the RAN point of view. So there are different kinds of configurations given to each of the network elements in the core network. And these configurations are primarily responsible for the outcome or the performance of the network while deployed at any point of time. So here we have the statistics getting collected, and these statistics are fed to the AML trainer. So this statistics serves the purpose of, in turn, the AML predictor will generate automatic configuration files, and the entries in the configuration files will actually be based on the statistics. So to have an enhanced performance, automatically the configuration parameters get auto-tuned so that the network will be performing at its best. So in general, why do we need such a solution? So we have a very changing environment condition. It can be in multiple angles. When we look at the infrastructure, we could get a building erected all of a sudden at any point of time. We could have the road layouts change. We could have traffic spikes at unexpected times. And you could also have varying weather changes. So all these environmental changes could automatically affect the network performance while deploying a 5G package at the edge. So these changes, we do not want any hindrance in the performance of the network because of any of the changes in the network. or the environment conditions. So let's just think of a solution that we can actually deploy at the edge, AML-based solution that can ideally give us the best performance in any of the changing environment conditions. So we thought of multiple AML-based algorithms. So the one that really suited this use case was multiple linear regression. Why we picked this is that we have an outcome that is dependent on multiple independent parameters, which is fed as a configuration input. So we have a dependent outcome, say A, which is the statistic that we are measuring to ensure that we have 0 drops. We have the performance at its best at any point of time. And it could depend on configuration parameters, which could be C1, C2, and any number of configuration, which actually the ML model gets trained with all these parameters. So it will ideally be, maybe you put a human there and it is capable of understanding and tell you, okay, I get X performance if I put C1, C2, C3 as a configuration to certain network functions deployed in 5G. So it ideally understands all the configuration that has to be fed into maybe the core network or the RAN network. So based on that, the ML model adjusts itself and changes the configuration parameters. So let's not get into the details of the algorithm. So you have independent variable C1, C2 multiplied by a coefficient which gives you an outcome which is a dependent variable, which ideally is your performance measure. So using this, the formula here given, we'll be able to compute the coefficients. So with this, we'll be able to get the list of unknown variables from the set of known variables. So the AML predictor will ideally be able to generate the configuration files with the appropriate numbers based on what Rupa had explained. It could be a scaling factor, it could be a window size, it could be multiple things that are configured in the JSON. So it will be able to auto-tune and adjust itself based on the anticipated or expected outcome in the statistics. Let's look at a real use case. Maybe you have a 5G network deployed at a particular spot where you have traffic spikes at 9 o'clock or 5 o'clock where there is a large amount of traffic at a particular point of time. So this particular predictor will be able to find out what is the best configuration parameter I can feed to the JSON that will maximize and not allow any drops of messages. Maybe none of your calls get disconnected. Maybe you'll be able to seamlessly send SMS, because generally when you see the traffic crowd at a particular point of time, you could probably see your calls not getting through due to network congestion. So the primary angle here we are looking at is to automatically tune the 5G network in all angles, changing the configuration so that I have 0 drops. So let's relate this to the algorithm we saw in the earlier slide. Maybe 0 packet drop your statistics, which is a dependent parameter, and you have the independent parameter, which could be max data burst volume, a window size, or a packet delay, or it could be, if you see a JSON file for a network function, it could be enormous. So it could be multiple parameters. So the primary aspect where the ML predictor is, it has to pick the key factors or the key elements that is required to give the right performance at any point of time. So using the solution, you could probably get a 0 drop during the spike periods at any place where your 5G network is deployed. Okay, so coming to the advantages, its advantage is very huge. So you have a deployment cycle time reduced massively. So if you want to perform a deployment at a particular spot, you analyze the multiple conditions in order to tune the JSON files and provide it to each of the network elements. But with this solution, you will be able to automatically create the configuration for any environment conditions in a very easy and smooth way, which means you are ideally auto-managing things. If you're auto-managing, you are saving cost to a large amount because you don't need any manual intervention, and the machine automatically reconfigures and deploys whatever is required at any point of time. And we will definitely see a performance boost at the network edge. And there could be even multiple 2 more solutions where you can even route the message to a very less traffic area or where there are no drops. So the routing aspects also can be controlled in the configuration of the network functions. So automatic routing can also take place. And in the case of sensitive data, you can ensure that you have stronger security applied to certain kind of network elements. So these are multiple advantages that you can achieve by deploying such kind of a smart 5G auto-generated configuration. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Please give them a big round of applause. I'd like to request Richa Gupta, Session Chair, to please come forward and present a small token of appreciation to both Grace and to Rupa. We'd like to thank them both for that lightning talk on AI ML use cases for 5G network automation, understanding the role of AI ML in telecommunications. Thank you. We have our second lightning talk now on the topic DevSecOps 2.0, AI-driven revolution, adapt or fade away, explore how the integration of DevSecOps and artificial intelligence enhances security, efficiency, and innovation across industries. We have with us this afternoon Urvi Ranade, Director, Head of FICC India, HSBC Technology. Please give her a big round of applause as I invite her onto the stage. Urvi Ranade leads by example and demonstrates how a female software engineer can achieve career growth and evolve as a role model without having to choose non-technical or stereotypical career paths. She broke the glass ceiling, moving from a junior engineer position to becoming the youngest director in her department. Urvi is an adept, I am a remarkable facilitator and a leader coach who transformed personal and professional lives through facilitating a number of sessions and mentoring plus coaching. Please welcome Urvi.
Thank you. All right. So imagine a world where cars drive themselves. Then the medical diagnoses are faster and more accurate. And finally, the financial transactions in this world are more efficient and secure. Is it science or history or some fiction? No. It's the power of AI and ML-powered future that is upon us. And the future is here. Imagine, consider any day in your day-to-day lives. For example, at corporate life or at a personal profession. Where is AI used? Maybe is it a bot that you are dealing with for buying any purchases or shopping? Or imagine a scenario where it can be also used to give you some recommendations automatically based on your trade history. Also, it could be automatically identifying the anomalies based on some manufacturing algorithm. It's used everywhere, isn't it? Now imagine what happens if these AI and ML applications are threatened by vulnerabilities or external bad actors. What are the real impacts on our world if we build inefficient, insecure AI ML platforms that fail? In the case of the first example, for example, if an autonomous vehicle is being managed by an AI algorithm, is being compromised. Your navigation goes on the toss, and the disasters could be really harmful for any human beings. In the second example, wherein we mentioned that we would rely on some kind of AI tooling mechanisms, wherein we would build an algorithm that can basically analyze all the medical reports to bring some diagnostics, also do some recommendation treatments, and also treat the patients automatically. I know most of you have attended yesterday's session, wherein a lot of discussions happening in terms of the ideas, how we should use as an Indian government to build such kind of apps that can speed up the diagnostic process, as the number of doctors per population is really, really low within India. So imagine if we move on to AI world, your entire diagnostics is based out of some data and medical reports. And if that AI becomes a target for manipulation, it can potentially cause a lot of injuries to not just people. It could just be really harmful in some cases because that was a target. And in my world, in financial transactions or banking specifically, if an algorithm that's being used to have automated booking of the trades, the equities that we all book from all the platforms that we have, if that is being compromised, if that algorithm gets compromised, then what happens? It not only causes financial impact, but also it creates a lot of regulatory issues, as well as it can cause a lot of legal concerns as well. Now, think about all these scenarios in your usual lives. In my opinion, if we build these AI and ML applications, but despite their intelligence, these AI and ML applications are not immune to vulnerabilities and attacks. And this is imperative to protect these applications from harmful threats, not just from public health and safety perspective, but from an organizational perspective to avoid the potential damages that it can cause. I'm introduced as a director of HSBC Technology, so I would like to also reiterate and change the gears a bit. I also built few applications within the bank, including some of the trading platforms that are powered by bots, that are powered by NLP, that are powered by automated disaster recoveries, also that are powered by the integrated cyber checks within your deployment pipelines. And most importantly, I'm responsible to build the teams that are 100% DevSec and Ops. I know most of these topics are quite interesting, and in fact, we can do deep dives on each of these for more than 1 hour. But we can't do that right now. So feel free to grab me after the session, and we can have specific conversations in terms of how you can achieve this in your organizations as well. Now, coming back in terms of building these particular applications. So what is DevSecOps 2? Let's understand that together. Maybe let me first ask one question to the audience here. How many of you are working professionals? Okay, I guess that's 90%, if not 85. And from all of you, there is follow-up question. How many of you know or are working on either DevOps or security or AI? Okay. Believe it's 30% of the population. Now, I'm going to ask you another question to not just these 30%, but everybody else here. Do you really understand what is DevSecOps 2.0? Okay, some nods are moving, and some people are moving their faces. There is one hand that person knows about it. Okay, cool. Okay, let's uncover this together, and let's do it in a very simplistic manner. So I'm going to talk about one story that has happened within my organization. So we had one application, which was a vendor application, and that was used in the bank since many, many years to do some XML transformations. Now, whenever we wanted to introduce any new features, naturally we wanted to go back to the vendor, get those functionalities added, and in return pay them hefty license fees. It sounds like a pretty common business case, right? Most of the organizations have these kind of scenarios where we purchase some software and then we use it. That's pretty common. But what is interesting is the team sat together in a retrospective and they thought, this particular product is not doing wonders to me, then why are we purchasing? Why not write it in-house? The time was ticking because the renewal was fast approaching to us. And then team were kind of doing all the R&Ds and research and going forward in terms of what can we explore next. There was one lady in the meanwhile, she was a quite junior, hands-on lady. She was doing some POCs, she experimented something, and what she did was she transformed entire code into GenAI LLM piece of code into Java and converted over 1 million batches into the package. Again, it might sound very basic, especially in the startup era, especially we are in Bangalore, which is hub of all the startups. But in the highly regulated environment like banks, it is absolutely impossible to use any GenAI or LLMs within your regulatory applications. I'm sure some of you, those who are working in fintech, those would agree to this. But then, what she did was she made it possible by exposing some of the endpoints and then just outsourcing those points which are not threatening the security terms within the bank. What she did was also transformed entire ecosystem into highly observable and fault-tolerant architecture just by experimenting. Now, it was her commitment to solve the problem, even using AI. She did not know about it before, even using AI and in a highly regulated environment, that she could turn a problem into a breakthrough, which never happened with the bank. Now, I'm going to move to another story. Again, I mean, we were at a nice day. We got an alert from one of the platforms that we own, and that alert was saying that some financial transactions were not going through to downstreams. Again, I mean, it's because regulatory pressures, and it was a highly time-critical application. We had all hands on the deck, just solving the problem, understanding what's going wrong. Weirdly, there was nothing wrong. Weirdly, the code was not throwing any errors. There were no recent changes to that particular piece of code, and still it was failing. We had to get all the seniors from the team to just understand what's happening, why this is not working, where it used to work before. And I mean, the core, we finally found the root cause of this problem, the secret of the issue, and that lied in one pull request, one PR. And if you look at the PR, that clearly said it had done some code optimizations, some minor performance optimizations, as well as it also had some unit tests changed. It's pretty basic, again. Happy days because the code was changed, unit tests changed, everything was looking fine, but still we couldn't understand what's getting wrong here. Finally, I mean, you won't believe me what happened after just hearing this. This piece of code was written or transformed just after we adapted Copilot. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying anything against Copilot. It's a boon to this age. But what we missed was the perspective which was different from human. That pull request should have been reviewed by a human being, figured out this is going to change. And because this particular Copilot piece, it also changed unit test cases, it was never found as an edge case. And that caused major first production issue caused by Copilot within the bank. Now, if I reflect back on these two stories, if you see the combination of different perspectives, pair that up with secure AI makes us really strong in the industry, if you think about it. Now, the numbers talk more than the words. So let's read it out together. So 86% of the organizations see the value in DevSecOps as important to have. All agree? Yes. I mean, I'm not seeing 86% of people nodding their heads, but it's there. Again, more than 85% of the organizations will embrace cloud-first technology. Again, it's going since many years now, so no surprises. Finally, over 80% of the organizations now practice today DevSecOps in their work culture, and it's supposed to grow very fast. Yet only 13% of all DevSecOps engineers are women. And the rest of 86% or more are men. No offense to gents sitting over here, but that's what the numbers tell us. Now, what next? The good news is women and non-binary bring some skills to the table that are totally, totally special. Can you tell what those skills could be? Some are written in the side wall, if you just read it out. So number one for me is grit, another is resilience, and finally intent. I think all female and non-binary have strong, strong presence in them about these three values. Now, how these can help in DevSecOps 2.0? Or what are the differentiating factors for DevSecOps 2.0? So for example, Grit can help you embed security aspects in your pipelines. Resiliency can help us build solutions that are fault tolerant, self-healing, and finally, intent. With good intent, we can basically create applications that do not need any manual interventions. And the most important thing we all carry is the confidence. And I think this is where we want to break the challenge, break the status quo in order for us to move further. Finally, what are the practical key takeaways in order for us to adapt to DevSecOps 2.0 and succeed together? Number one, unlearn old ways of thinking or working and relearn new, especially in this Gen AI world, and constant upskilling. That's number one. There is no challenge or there is no debate around it. Number two, and again, another most important one is ask yourself every day, what 1% improvement I can do to me and at my workplace every single day, and do it. And finally, number three, which is use us, use each other, because we have everyone around us who can help us in terms of experimenting, in terms of sharing their experiences, and finally, mentoring and coaching as well. So the events like these, I think we should make most use of, and as well as at the workplaces, we should understand who are your closed network. In other term that we heard in another session yesterday in Raja, who are your 3 a.m. friends? I think that's what we need to start building up and go forward it. That's it from me. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Urvi. I'd like to request Richa to please come up on stage and present Urvi with a small token of appreciation.
Thank you. Thank you.
We'd like to thank Urvi once again for that lightning talk on DevSecOps 2.0, AI-driven revolution, adapt or fade away. We move into our third lightning talk for this afternoon on the topic Terrain Resolver in Aviation using Gen AI. Learn about the advancements in aviation technology through Gen AI, which enhances terrain awareness and obstacle detection for safer flight operations. We have with us this afternoon Sanjana Vijayan, lead software engineer from Boeing. Sanjana is a seasoned lead developer at Boeing, specializing in artificial intelligence and machine learning to advance intelligent aerospace systems. With a solid foundation built during her tenure as a technology specialist at UST, Sanjana has seamlessly transitioned into a leadership role, leveraging her extensive experience in modern software development practices. Please put your hands together for Sanjana Vijayan. Over to you.
Hi, good afternoon, beautiful ladies, and of course, the handsome men out there. I know I am the last one, and it is a Friday afternoon. After the lunch, everyone will be dozed off, but I will try to make this session a little bit more interactive, and it will be interesting. So, yeah, when I came here first, when I tried to explain my topic, many were not aware of the terrain resolver. So, how many of you have a small idea about terrain resolver? Can you please make your hands up? Okay, no one. So first will be the agenda will be the introduction and then key features and capabilities of AI-driven terrain resolvers, use cases of AI-driven terrain resolvers in aviation, and how we have done that. Okay. Coming to the terrain resolver, I am from aviation domain. I have a decade of experience in Emirates Airlines, and now I am with Boeing. So how many of you have drove the car or drove your vehicle and came here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. I prefer not to drive in Bangalore, but I prefer to drive in my hometown, Kerala. And of course, for the ladies, sorry for the men, how many of you are relying on your parking sensor while driving the car or parking the car? Of course, we are relying, right? So that's what's happening for the terrain resolver when we are going up with an aeroplane. So if you can see what is mean by terrain resolver. Terrain resolver is an integration of the generative artificial intelligence with terrain represents a significant advancement in aviation technology. So what it will do is like it will give a warning to the pilot. So that is the terrain floor, how much is the warning distance and how much is the caution distance. So suppose if you are traveling through, you are flying, imagine yourself as a pilot and you are flying over a steep mountain or a steep volcano or something which is fog or some obstruction or a bird. So it is the responsibility of the terrain resolver to alert you much in advance. So let's go through the key features and capabilities of AI-driven terrain resolvers. First is real-time terrain mapping. As you can see, there are hills and mountains. And then obstacle detection and prediction. And third one is flight path optimization. Fourth one, adaptive learning and continuous improvement. And fifth one, enhanced pilot assistance. Okay. Today we had a panel discussion on LLMs as well as AI path. There was a question. How many of you have attended today's morning sessions? Okay. Okay. When Gen AI came into picture, before it becoming a buzzword, the main thing was it threatening for the software engineers or it assist? So we can take both ways. It's like either we can take whether it will assist us or it will be a replacement. And here it is just an assessment for the pilot. I will tell you how. So we will go through the benefits of AI-driven terrain resolvers. One is increased safety. So it will help in obstacle detection. So it will increase the safety while traveling. Of course, when you are about 40,000 to 30,000 feet above the ground, it is much important. And then operational efficiency. In terms of flight, it will help in optimized flight paths, fuel savings. And then, as I said, it is a perfect assistant for the pilots. So it will enhance the pilot support by providing real-time alerts. And then continuous learning and improvement. Since we are using the Gen AI, it is an adaptive AI system. So over the time, when we provide more and more data patterns, it will become more and more brilliant and intelligent. And versatility, applicable to various types of aircraft and missions, from commercial as well as to fighter missions. So AI-driven terrain resolvers, it enhances safety and efficiency across the aviation industry. So let me take you through all the use cases. First one is like scenario. A commercial airline navigating through mountainous region or approaching airports surrounded by challenging terrain. Many of you might have aware what happened in Mangalore, right? Our Kathmandu is considered as the most dangerous because it is situated between the hilly area. So there, it will come in effective. So second use case is helicopters conducting search and rescue missions in rugged landscape or urban environments. We know that in Himalayas or in Everest itself, almost 200 dead bodies are present. In order to cover that, we use helicopters. For that, these terrain resolvers come into picture. And then UAVs, performing surveying, mapping, or delivery tasks in areas with varied topography. I am coming from Dubai. In Dubai, for the Swiggy delivery, we use UAVs. There are skyscraper buildings, which is almost 25 to 30 floors are there. There, it is much important. And then, yeah. How many of you have watched Fighter, the movie by Hrithik Roshan? Okay, very less people. Okay, I have watched it for Hrithik Roshan. There also terrain resolver is there because you can see when the fighter planes are there, when there is an obstacle or when there is another flight is coming into picture, it will alert the pilot that one object is coming nearby. And then private pilots, which is the seaplane or any other chartered flight, again, it will be helping the pilot who is unfamiliar with whatever is the terrain or whether it is a mountain ahead or whether there is any bed ahead. So, okay. Now coming to the traditional part, is there an existing system? Of course, there is an existing system. It started with the GPS, GWS. GPW was ground proximity warning system, but it has its own disadvantages. So it was displaced by enhanced ground proximity warning system. So as it says, when there is it reaching a terrain, before 60 seconds, it will give an alert to the pilot. Now I'll tell you what are the disadvantages. Okay. So as you can see in the figure, one of the important thing is that this EGPWS work on the predefined data. I mean the old historical data. It is not working on the real-time data. And second, when there is fog, mist, or anything, it is not able to predict. It is based on the situational awareness of the pilot. That's why when in Delhi or anywhere or in Bangalore, when the fog, mist are there, most of the airlines, they will just try not to land because it will not provide the accurate data. Now you know the reason. And then second is like inaccurate aircraft position data could lead to false alerting. If the data, there is some mismatch or anything, then it will result in false alarming, which will again get back to reflect back to the pilot's decision. Okay, regarding the pilot decision and the situational analysis and awareness, let me throw this question. How many of you know Captain Sully? Yes. Captain Sully is the US. He is the permanent aviation security person in US. Okay, let me take two sentences to describe him. And he has faced an issue when he was flying over the Hudson River. One bird has attacked the aeroplane, and you know the engines of the aeroplanes are on the two wings of the aeroplane. So both the engines got crashed. Then he had to land in Hudson River. That saved almost 155 lives. But that was his situational awareness. Then there was a civil case in the court that reran the demo, and then they said that if he could have saved 3 minutes, then he could have landed in the nearby airport. Then he said that because the person who did the demo already know that this is coming. That is from the movie Captain Sully. Please try to watch it. It's a nice movie. But that situational awareness was not there for him. I mean, he had to take the decision then and there. So now we will see how Gen AI is coming into picture and how we can do the real-time data. So the existing system, it is taking from the historic data, and it won't aid the pilot for the situational consciousness or the situational analysis. Now what we have is like Gen AI, which based on the data set or the geospatial data, we have many APIs which are open source, which will provide you the geospatial data. You can search in the net. I have just taken it from the USGS. So it will provide you the real-time data, or wherever, if there is an increase in the size, or if there is a fog, or if there is a smog, or if there is a weather condition alert. And this is how the metadata looks like. So this is how we have implemented the Gen AI. First, we will do the data processing, and then we will do the data cleaning, and then we will extract the feature, and then we will select the model. For the demo purpose or for the POC purpose, same like for the 5G, we have selected the MLR, and then we train the model based on different scenarios. And then we prepared the comparison and analysis, and finally the visual and reporting, and finally giving alert to the pilot. So what's Gen AI doing here? Gen AI is collecting the data from various real-time sources, and then analyzing it, providing a holistic comprehensive study, and then actionable insight to that respective problem, so that a person who is in a complex condition or a complex decision-making situation, he can take the decision more accurately, or he can see the bigger picture. So this is the Jupyter and the Python notebook. And finally, it is alerting to the pilot. If you have any questions, you can just come get back to me in my LinkedIn. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Sanjana. I'd like to request Richa to please come back up on stage and present Sanjana Vijayan with a small token of appreciation on behalf of Anita B.
Get that. We're about to break that chain of thought that forcing you can't do that. Tied us down, now we combat. New gen in your face, we
I'd like to
about
thank
that because we